So Bitcoin just did something absolutely insane, and you're looking at it right now on your screen, and I'm so happy that it happened. If you've been around on the channel, you know. I'm going to X this out real quick. Actually, let's just hide it. If you've been around the channel, then you know that I've been talking about how structure was like this, was like this, was like this, flipped bearish, had that, had the continuation, and then now up and away we went. Now, I also let you know that I did not take this long. It missed my order block. I had a nice 12-hour order block at the low that it missed, and then you didn't have any structure confirmation, you didn't have any cipher confirmation. So for me, I was talking about how if you tried to catch the knife, perhaps I missed the level. That's fine, it happens to the best of us. But if you tried to catch the knife, it was more of a gamble, and as of late I haven't really been enjoying gambling. It hasn't really worked out well. If I wanted to gamble, I would go to the casino, which I did, and I lost $200. So my point, what did we officially do that has changed things now? Well, if I bring my structure back up, we finally swept an important high. Remember, I had in the last video, I was like, this is the way I'm interpreting it. I'm not going to count this as 4-hour structure because it's too crunched up, but this was too crunched up on the 12-hour. So I was saying that this could be the trend that, you know, evidently carries on and continues. And that's exactly what happened. And the reason why this is significant now is because now that we touched this high again, which is a very strong liquidity point, might I add, now that we have hit that high, this is your new structure. That is the only thing that's important, okay? Now, if you've been around the channel as well, you know that I've been saying ever since August, from this high to this low, everything else is internal. Because your structure from the range, we're going to skip some points, is evidently this. And we are on the hunt for the potential lower high to go down for a lower low if the trend is going to continue. Am I saying we're not going to all-time highs? Absolutely not. That is only if it continues. We obviously know, as they say, the trend is your friend, blah, blah, blah. I don't like saying that. It sounds kind of gay. But, you know, if this trend is going to be my friend, then the expectation is a lower high to make a lower low. However, between here and here happened in August, and that doesn't serve me any well now that it's middle of October. So what we could do is we could interpret it this way. Remember, the market is free for everybody's interpretation. Your interpretation of it is different than mine, and mine will be different than the next person. So this is how I'm looking at it now, and this is what's very important now, because we don't care about all this internal shit anymore, and all of this fluff with that bearish flip, and I was counting it on the 12 but not on the 4, it's irrelevant now, and it makes it way easier for me to have a better understanding as to what might happen next in the markets. Now, if you don't know how SFPs work, they're basically liquidity grabs. And in case you didn't notice it today and you didn't take profits on these longs that literally Asia's been giving you nonstop easily, which, by the way, this pump was on a weekend on a holiday. And if you guys know if New York was open today or not, please let me know, because I have no idea if New York was open today. I was like asking people, half the creators were saying yes, half the creators were saying no. I literally have no idea. Anyways, it's irrelevant now that, you know, today's over. But my point is, we have officially just swept liquidity. And if we keep our structure back on, when you sweep the highs like this, guys, it is not uncommon for you to rotate down to the lows. And I'm going to show you a very internal example of that. Remember, we were talking about this structure and how all we had was we needed that lower high confirmation here to then make a lower low. But the lower low didn't actually close on the higher term time frames. For example, the 12-hour time frame, right? So what did we have? We had an SFP. And when you get an SFP or a swing failure pattern, aka a liquidity grab, it is usually a sign that you are going to head in the opposite direction, and your target would evidently be wherever that structure point lines up with that SFP. So in this case, you SFP'd the low, your target was that high because your structure was this, and that high has been taken and closed above in a strong breakthrough, and, you know, sayonara to the upside, right? Well, now we just potentially, it's not confirmed yet, but we just potentially are creating an SFP of this high here. Keep in mind, everything is very hypersensitive right now. Everybody is aggressively hyper bullish. I don't ever trade using the FAG index, and I never will use this. The only reason I even bring this up is because I'm a creator. But look, the FAG index is at 65. Yesterday, it was at 48. Like, we had a massive jump in the FAG index. Everybody's calling for all-time highs. And even worse than that, everybody's calling for like 85, 100, 200K in the next 2 weeks. And I just can't help but notice, you know, I'm a very technical trader. I don't care about the news. I don't care about the fundamentals. I don't care about the blockchain. I don't care about the election. It doesn't matter. I think Bitcoin and crypto is going to do whatever it's going to do, whether Trump wins or the camel girl wins. Doesn't matter to me. I'm Canadian, but I think it's going to do what it's going to do either way. But I will say this, pumping into an election where people are expecting Trump to win, it sounds like a buy the rumor, sell the news. I'm not trying to spread fear, uncertainty, whatever those weird crypto words people use are, FUD. But, you know, it is what it is. Right now, we are potentially forming an SFP on this high. And the target for that SFP, technically speaking, would be this low. But not only that, why would it make more sense? Or not, why would it make more sense? What additional confluence do we have with this low? We have a couple. Number one, like I said, we front ran that 12-hour order block. I did not get into the long because they front ran my level and hurt my feelings ever so slightly by like $100 or so. Fine. But let's just say that that wasn't enough. If we pull up Market Cipher here and we hide our EMAs because the EMAs are ugly and we don't need it. We have very strong vector candles that we had to the upside. We know that we've been virtually up only for now 4 days straight. And like I said, it was over a weekend. It was holiday volume. We don't know if New York was open or closed right now. And we know that the number one rule when it comes to Market Cipher is whenever you have a white dot or a red dot, you got to look to the left and say that that's not the market rule, and say that those vectors can get recovered. Okay, it is irresponsible for us to assume that they cannot get recovered because they absolutely can. Now I gotta say this, Market Cipher looked very bad. Like, it didn't look like it was going to give you this run up. And so if you're struggling with Market Cipher, I think my video tomorrow is going to be a video on how to, you know, filter out the noise that might come with Market Cipher so that you don't end up in bad trades. But I would say this, that it didn't look like it was going to have this big move to the upside. I did take a scalp short here and I took profit on the low, and then I got stopped out at break even. You guys know I didn't long here, and I don't really trade weekends, and I definitely don't trade holiday weekends. I was also DJing a wedding, my last wedding of the season. So I didn't get this long. I didn't get this long. My only trade that I took in the last 3 days was we were short from before. We took profit on this low. And then I shorted up here. I took profit here, got stopped out at entry, and then I shorted the very top here now. And now I'm still in that short. Okay, so that's really the only thing that I have going on right now. And depending on what happens here over the next couple days will determine whether or not I think we're going higher or lower, obviously. And I've been talking about this publicly on my channel. I said that the line in the sand for me was 64.4. However, at the time, I didn't realize that, you know, we could SFP that high and that your external structure, your more macro structure would still be this. Okay, so the truth is, like, really is the true line in the sand is this 70k 70.3k. The problem with 70.3 is it's so close to the all-time high, and I've already said if you start coming up here, you're probably going to make your way to the all-time high. But I just don't think that it's necessarily I don't think that we're necessarily out of the woods yet. Okay, I don't think so. I think that there is a potential for us to have at least a decent pullback. It doesn't mean that we're going back to the low 50s. It doesn't mean that we're going to come back for that CME gap at 54k, which we do have a CME gap. So, you know, don't forget about it. I'm not saying trade it because of it's just a CME gap, like it's $12,000 away. But don't forget about it, and don't rule out the idea that it could go there, because again, you know, on this channel, I keep it as real as possible. It could go up, it could go down. If you guys want the nonsense, up only garbage, it's Uptober, and, you know, jack off to fucking the blockchain shit and all that, then this isn't the channel for you. But if you want a realistic channel that, you know, when it's up, it's up, and when it's down, it's down. It's, you know, the technicals and, you know, no hopium garbage, then this is the place for you. But yeah, you know, we have that CME gap at 54k that we could still come to. We don't have to come for it now. We could come for it later. We also have a CME gap at 20k. Am I suggesting that we're going to 20k? Absolutely not. But, you know, we do have a potential to roll over here. I'm not saying that we're going to, right? It's completely contingent on what structure is going to show us, right? And right now we're seeing signs of an SFP. Again, it's not confirmed. I'm not saying that it's confirmed 100%. And, you know, by no means am I saying short right now. Just because I scalp shorted it, fine. But in general, You know, I think it is very important to just remain as objective as possible. If you didn't get the longs, that's okay. If you didn't get the shorts, that's okay as well. You know, you don't always need to be in a trade. And so that's what I'm looking for right now. That's the structure that I'm playing right now. And we'll see what happens here in the next couple days, because what could happen is you could form a potential PO3, which is essentially a manipulative range up here. Similar. Oh, my screen just froze. Similar to how we did up here. Okay, similar to how we did up here. And that's how I was able to get this monster scalp short down to 49K back in August. Okay, the last thing I want to say is shouts out to this individual here, who's actually the motivation for this video. I wasn't going to make a video today, but he just says, I think the time has come, my friend. Time to flip bullish. No more giga shorting. And, you know, I think there's a possibility. Yeah, like, you know, like I said, we very much so could go to all-time highs from here. I'm not saying that we're not going to, but I am just giving you guys this update, and that this is what I'm looking for in terms of structure. I'm waiting for the confirmations here so that I could potentially giga short it. There are levels that could stop you, okay, from actually hitting that 57K level. But remember, that 12-hour order block did get front run, and so I wouldn't rule out the idea of coming down here for that reason. Okay, so I gave this update to my Nexus members like 2-3 hours ago that I went short, and you know that this is the new structure and the utter importance of it, at least for me. So big shouts out to the Nexus, and we'll see how it goes here, guys. We'll see how it goes. But I'll tell you this, we are dead center of the range almost. We're actually a little bit more bullish than we are, or sorry, we're like almost the 70%, 65% way to the range high. So, you know, in general, we are in premium section of the range. You should be in general prioritizing shorts. However, of course, this could be the play that absolutely just comes up and wipes out all that liquidity. You guys know that I've been saying when it is time to go to all-time highs, I think it's just going to be a very fast move. I don't think that they're going to give a lot of people time to get in. And this is very reminiscent of a very fast move, as I mentioned in my last video. Anyways, that's it for this video, guys. If you like the content, hit the like button. If you loved it, hit the subscribe button with the notification bell so you can get my updates in a timely manner, especially when I go live and I scalp New York Open live like I was going to this morning. But New York, I don't know if it was open. So let me know in the comments if it was open or not. Let me know if you got in these longs, and, you know, what do you think? What do you guys think? You know, a lot of people are saying 80K by October 30th or 85K, 100K by the election. Do you think that there's a possibility of a buy the rumor, sell the news? Do you think that there's a possibility that they're going to come back for all these vectors when we know the rules? You know the money. Look at the money, guys. I'm just being objective. Look at the 10-minute time frame. 10-minute money is heavily pouring out. Divergences are heavily here, and we just swept that important liquidity. I mean, you tell me what you guys think in the comments down below. Aside from that, guys, trade safe, be good, stay happy, stay healthy, and I will see you guys in the next one. And one thing I forgot to note, guys, sorry you don't get to see my ugly face again, but one thing I forgot to note is right above this SFP level, we have a daily order block that we haven't hit yet that starts around 67,000. So if we were to break this high, right, we talked about the SFP, but if we were to break this high and stay up here and potentially range like up here or break higher, depends on how it looks. Like, I haven't decided yet. It depends on where it ranges, how high up it goes. Do we get kind of far into this order block or not, or whatever the case is? Depending on all that, will kind of determine whether or not I think we're going to make it to the all-time high. Like, you know, this is an SFP option because, you know, if you SFP that structure that we had indicated earlier in the video, then, you know, that becomes your target. So I think it's important to watch what happens there. But then even if you pass that, you also have this SFP to worry about. And this is a very important SFP. Because if you look at the heat map, there's like, I don't even know, 30 billion or however many, 20 billion, whatever it is, of liquidations above that 70K high. And just like we talked about the SFP level here, remember, your structure, and I'm skipping some points here, but your structure from the high down is this. Remember, we said from here and here, everything else is internal. Well, if you SFP that high, then that becomes not internal anymore. Like, this is your structure. Right, that would confirm this as your low. And if you SFP that high, then just like how here, if you SFP that high, this becomes your potential target. If this happens and you SFP that high, then this becomes your potential target. So again, I'm not saying that we're going down, right? It is very much so contingent on the structure, but the purpose of today's video is to update you on what I'm doing in terms of structure, because I think that it is very important to remain as objective as possible. And remember to address that YouTube comment, you know, oh, it's time to go full bull mode. I don't think so yet. I don't think so. And I'm not saying that, again, I'm not saying we can't go to the all-time high. And it's not like I'm wrong if we do go to the all-time high. Remember, I'll scalp it and I'll take any trade I can that makes sense to me and that I see, right? But I don't think that there's anything right now that suggests, you know, someone is necessarily wrong or right for saying that it's going to go to the all-time high just because it's October. I don't think it's as simple as that. And so for me, I mean, the line in the sand is kind of this level, really, like I said earlier in the video, because if we start closing above here, then yeah, you're going to go to the all-time high. But if you're getting up here and you're breaking this and you're not immediately SFPing it, then you're probably going to go to the all-time high in like one candle anyways. So it's kind of unfortunate that, you know, this is the line in the sand and this is so high up to get to even here. But I mean, that's just kind of how the cookie crumbles, I guess. All right, see you guys for real.